Hi there. Welcome back. Peyton here. I hope you had a terrific Thanksgiving, or a late Thanksgiving, or many Thanksgivings. Yeah, I am back. We're doing another deck tech. I know last week I said I did soldiers, but I'm still working out the kinks on that. I just don't want it to be boring soldiers, so I still need more time for that. But got another present for you. We're doing a 4-color domain meld. So I said meld, right? So, of course, we're playing 3 copies of Titania, 3 copies of Argoth. Um, I really don't like playing 4 copies of, especially a legendary card. So we're now playing 4 copies of Titania. I just, this deck really, there's a lot of, this deck really kind of fills the graveyard. And so when Titania is in the graveyard, we can get her back with various ways. So I really don't want to play 4 copies. Plus, legendary creatures, 4 copies, that's always awkward. And then 3 copies of Argoth. Don't do 4. It's this deck, especially my version, plays a lot of tap lands, and Argoth really is another tap land. But it's a tap land that only taps for green. So we need to play 3 because of the meld. Just don't play 4 because of the tap land stuff. You kind of need untap mana on turn 2, turn 3. Speaking of Argoth, the activated ability is nice. It's actually pretty good, especially on turn 5. If you don't have anything, you just have a handful of like a 2/1 and 1/1s and things like that, and you're like, might as well just make a free 2/2. Plus, you get to mill 3 cards. Adds to this deck of putting stuff in the graveyard and winning. Yeah, so like the meld is really cool. The bear is whatever. The triggering the Argoth, the activated ability, you really don't see much until you activate it twice. I think if you activate it twice, you can really see the power that activated ability is. But even still, just activating it once is fine, just enough. If you have no cards in your hand, activate Argoth, and then Titania. Let's talk about Titania. She is quite a doozy as far as power goes. Let's just ignore the fact that she melds. Let's just say you got a 3 mana, 3/4, already great stats. 3/4 reach, perfect. It blocks Delvers. It really blocks Delvers. Any Thopters that you're fighting against, it can chop block the dragons. Reach is a very powerful ability. Plus the gaining 2 life anytime a land enters the graveyard is very, very good. That's why this deck does pretty well against aggro, especially game 1. Game 2 we get a lot better, but game 1 we have so much life gain with Titania and some other cards, just like incidental life gain. So even if you are on like 5 health by turn 3, if you play Titania and trigger her once or even twice, you're gonna be okay. And then the meld of Titania, whatever the virgin nature, the big giant tree person. If you flip her, you should win. Really, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Because if they have a kill spell, you should activate her ability, making your lands 4/4s it's a lot. Even if you just get 1/4/4, she's like a Titan of Industry, right? She comes in as a big person, tree, them thing, and comes in as the giant creature plus making a 4/4 or even 2 4/4s. Like, That's ridiculous. There's really no reason you shouldn't win after you meld. It's very rarely. There's a couple games where it's gotten very close where I've meld Titania and I've still they've almost they almost won, but done with Titania and Argoth. Playing Titania, gotta get lands in the graveyard. We're playing 4 copies of Undead Butler, one of my favorite cards, and 4 copies of this dude, the green, the worst Satyr Wayfinder. Just we need cards in the graveyard. He's really good. He gets lands. He can become a 2/2. He's just a necessity, just a strong turn 2 play. And then Undead Butler, one of the sleeper hits of the standard. Ever since that card was printed, I am amazed at how powerful and strong it is. If I play it, I feel ridiculously strong. If my opponent plays it, I feel like I can't win. Just one of those cards. Getting back, milling like a Titania, getting her back, or milling any one of our creatures. Plus, we have multiple ways in this deck to sacrifice a creature. So, using Undead Butler as sack outlet, milkshake to fill the graveyard. So it's kind of the perfect card. I don't know what else you could want. Another milkshake, sort of, kinda, is Sprouting Goblin. Originally, so I built this deck a long time ago when Dominaria was released, which seems like forever. And I call this deck Sprouting Goblin Mid, just because I'm obsessed with this card and I think this card's great. Getting any land with a basic land type, so like any of the cycling lands you can get, and just having them to cycle away, or you can just get like a forest and play a forest and do another spell. Just don't sleep on how good this card is. It's very good. I wanted to, besides being one of the cards I built around this deck, need some 2-drops to sacrifice on turn 3, and we'll talk about that card next. But we need more 2-drops to sacrifice in turn 3, and I didn't want to be embarrassed by playing like, shoot, what's the name of that card? This card, the Tenacious Underdog, the one that everyone plays. I didn't want to play that card. Yeah, Sprouting Goblin plays better with our deck. It's better in the long game. The sacking a land to draw a card is very, very good, especially in a deck like ours where we play a lot of lands. We're playing 25 lands. So we're gonna play a land for the first 8 turns, and we don't need 8 mana ever. So you can sack a forest, sack a swamp, sack a mountain, something like that, draw a card. It kind of, if you see Children on the other side, take this card out, because it becomes a lot worse. This card is only meant to like draw cards, and Children kind of really screws us. So see Children, take this card out. But other than that, this card is amazing. Don't take it for granted. Sometimes you want to play it on turn 2 as well. We need a lot of 2-drops for a 3-drop that they sacrifice. I'm sure a lot of you have figured it out. And the card is Ob Nixilis. One of the more powerful cards in Standard. It's just a really strong card. Seeing this card, as my personal bias aside, slamming this on turn 3 by like sacking a 1/1 or something and just having 2 planeswalkers on the board and your opponent doesn't have anything, right? It's ridiculous how powerful this is, especially if your opponent's playing a control deck. If your opponent has counter spells turn 3, they're leaving up Make Disappear, Negate, Spell Pierce, something like that up, and you slam Ob plus the copy, they can only counter one of those. So even if you still just get one, it's very, very strong. Smacking your opponent for 2 every turn, just ping, 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 ping. It's a very snowball effect, the same way that Shieldred is very snowball. Ob Nixilis is the same way, just not as aggressive, not as steep of a curve. It's more of a gradual burn. Um, but Ob Nixilis is just perfect planeswalker for this deck. We would like to have more fodder, sacrifice fodder. So making the devils really good, pinging something. I haven't noticed a lot of one toughness things. I'm sure there are. There's a lot. Any of the one drops, the red one drops, the soldiers. Um, the devils become more valuable the more X ones there are in the format. And right now there's not a whole lot. But even still, blocking an X2 or something like that and just trading, perfect card. And if you can ultimate with this card, you're going to win. You either target yourself, draw 7 cards, it's pretty good, or target your opponent, they lose 7 life, and game over. Tips and tricks on this card. If you have 2 copies on the battlefield, so you got a token and the original card, try to sacrifice the original card beforehand. So like try to -2 and get rid of it. That way you can play the Ob Nixilis from your hand and get another copy, so you can get 3 Ob Nixilis planeswalkers. And then by that point, it's rough losing from that point. So just try to lose your original copy of try to lose your original copy of Ob Nixilis before losing your token. Just that way you can make more tokens, and the tokens are legendary, so you can keep on playing. You all knew this card was coming. We're playing Lord of Windgrace, 4 copies. I know I said earlier I don't want to play 4 copies of legendary creatures. Lord of Windgrace is an exception. This card's ridiculous. It's really, really good, especially in our deck, because we have so many milkshakes. We can immediately get some value back from him entering the battlefield on turn 4. Turn 4, we play it, we get something back, we attack with it, get something back, right? If you can, I like to leave up the 3 mana for the indestructibility. That's a very strong thing. Especially if you're playing like mono red or any damage-based removal decks, just the indestructibility is really good. So try to do that. I know there's a lot of like exile removal, which is frustrating. Even the indestructibility, it's very good. I don't know what else to say about Lord of Windgrace. Just play 4 copies. Be impressed. This is big beefy boy. It's card draw. If we have so many lands in our hand, we can discard them. We can gain life. This is more incidental life gain against mono red. Yeah, just play 4 copies. Downside with Lord Windgrace, no trample, no evasion of any kind, just kind of like a dude. It's kind of frustrating. They can just keep chump blocking over and over and over again, but even if they do, you're still attacking and getting triggers. So play Windgrace, have fun with them, be cool. Because we are a graveyard deck, I wanted an Eat Witness effect, Eternal Witness for new crowd. Eternal Witness, very powerful card. I wanted something like that, so we're playing 3 copies of Gloomshrieker. Kitty cat. Gloomshrieker, there is not a card it doesn't get back. It gets back all cards. We are only playing permanents. Milling a Titania, and you don't have anything else in your hand. Getting her back, playing her, flipping her, killing. Getting a Windgrace, killing her, getting lands, just everything you could want. And an Eternal Witness, this is the card for you. The Menace is fine. It hasn't really come up super often. When you play Eternal Witness, you kind of just use it for the return and a body. The body is negligible, so don't rely too much on the Menace part, but it's nice, like if they play like a Wandering Emperor and just played like a 2/2, you can go in there and kill the Wandering Emperor. Just the 2/1 Menace is better than it looks, but also worse than it looks. I wouldn't rely too much on it. I would just think of it more as like a chumping body. So if you don't need a chumping body, 2/1 Menace, it can flip a switch like that. So play some Gloomshrieker. Also, kitty cat, gotta play cat. especially a Golgari cat. It's pretty cool. I'm sure the foil for this card looks amazing, like ridiculous. So good foils if you can, because I'm sure it peak investment. Now the new card with Brothers War, one of my favorites. I know it's one of Dev's favorites. Talk about the spider. We're talking about the spider. It's one of the perfect cards. It's I've been saying we need more sack outlets or sacrifice fodder. This is one of the reasons too. It really is just like the perfect card to put in this deck because it is a creature, so it's another permanent we can get back with Gloomshrieker. It's another way we can have reach. We have another 3-powered reach creature. It's another way to gain life. I'm telling you, this deck gains a lot of life very quick. A lot of times you'll end the game turn 10, right? It's a slow grindy game and you'll have like 22 life. And that's from the spider. It's from Titania. It's from a whole bunch of other things. Windgrace if you need to. So spider's perfect. Getting any non-land permanent too. It's really nice just to have like an answer to whatever we want. Originally I was playing 4 copies of Leyline Binding, and there still are in my sideboard. I would still recommend playing 4 copies, but they were in the main deck. It felt wrong. There's a lot of people playing Destroy Evil just because there's enchantments are target number 1, especially in this format with Kiki Jiki card. Any of the other Saga cards, they're just all broken. They're not broken, they're just really fun to play with. So I can imagine why a lot of people are playing Destroy Evils. Destroy Evils, or yeah, I was playing Leyline Binding, Brothers War came out, Spider came. Just an improvement. Just overall an improvement card. Remember, this isn't Necrotal. You're not getting a board presence plus killing something. You're getting rid of some of your board presence to kill something. Just playing this Undead Butler, sacrificing Undead Butler to use this. So turn 4 you play Spider and you kill whatever, the new Teferi or the new Urza, right? Kill the new Urza, Undead Butler, get back like a Gloomshrieker that you milled over, and then next turn you can play Gloomshrieker. Just keep the train going. So this is one of those cards that helps the train keep going. Plus it's a big spider. I love spiders. I think spiders are great. I don't ever kill spiders because they're nature's pest removal. Plus they're really cool. Life gain, pretty good. You can usually it's 5+ life in this deck to gain all that life. So you're gaining big chunks. And then the reach is very good. This card is a perfect buying time, and this deck really wants to buy time to flip Titanium to Meld Titanium. And this I just can't sing enough of this card's praises. This card is ridiculous, and you should play it. Trust me, just play it. If you haven't played with this card in limited, trust me, this card is busted, especially in limited. It's got like the highest win percentages in limited. Like you play it and you win. So play the big spider. Play the big spider. It's everything you want. Another weird card, but it also fits the deck. Augur of Autumn. We're playing 3 copies of this. The only reason I'm playing this is because I haven't seen a lot of lightning strikes where I play. If you do see a lot of lightning strikes, don't play 3 just because turn 3 doing that and killing it. It's not very good, but if you can untap with this thing, it is ridiculous. You know me, I'm going to talk about old cards. Courser Crufix was a staple for as long as it was in standard. If you were playing green, you were playing 4 copies of Cruiser. I'm only playing 3 copies just because it can get lightning struck. But this does have the same effect where you play it, you on top of it, and it's just a crazy engine, just all by itself. Even if you can't trigger Coven, just playing lands at the top of your deck is very good. Plus, this deck can manipulate the top of its library by milling, so you can always just keep playing lands. If you can trigger Coven, you're just playing creatures from the top of your deck. It's ridiculous. We'd like to have cards in our hand for like Windgrace. So having more cards in your hand is it's very good. Augur of Autumn, very nice card. I recommend playing at least trying out a couple copies. 3 might be too many, like I said, for a Lightning Strike format, but if you can untap with this thing, it's pretty crazy. I don't understand why this doesn't see more play. I guess because green does not see any play right now. It's all Invoked Despairs, the Fabled Mirror Breaker, Tenacious Underdog. I get it. They're very strong cards. There's a reason you should be. It's the number 1 format or number 1 deck in the format. But I'm telling you, Augur of Autumn. It's a pretty strong card. It's a very grindy card. Very grindy. It's exactly what you wanted. I wouldn't say it's better than Courser. I'd rather have Courser. A 2/4 is much better than a 2/3. Augur of Autumn. Play that card. Please play it. Other cards we're going to talk about, I'm just going to throw some on here. Lhurgoyf, we're playing 2 copies. You should probably play 3 or 4 if you really want to. This is kind of like one of the only big boys we got. Other big boys are Windgrace. And then other than that, the highest power we have is 3. So if you want to play more big boys, play more Lhurgoyfs. I just I want it to be more grindy. So Lhurgoyfs were really good, and beyond being big, that's kind of all they do. They could be a 6/7, but if your opponent has any removal, it's just kind of whatever. The dice to removal argument, right? It's Lhurgoyf, play that card. We're also playing 1 copy of Bone Rattler. I wanted a fun card, and this is a card I drafted this card a lot, so I had 4 copies in my collection, and it's working out. It's a great card if you can get 6 mana. This deck gets to Domain 4 a lot, so if you get to it, you can bring back Windgrace and immediately give it value, or bring back a Titania, Gloomshrieker, just whatever. This card's really good. I would recommend playing it. Just try it out. It's 1 copy. It's the Bone Rattler. Who doesn't want to play with a Bone Rattler? And so stick to try playing this card. It's a good time. We're going to talk about lands. Let's talk about lands. 25, sorry. Play these lands. Blast Zone. Blast Zone. Really good card. When I think it's one of the most like underrated cards from Brothers War. Definitely the most underrated reprint. But as far as perfect cards for this deck goes, this is one of them. It's just Blast Zone, especially in the last format it played at with War of the Spark, blowing up everything, just having like an emergency Kaplooey for everything, albeit it's really slow. It takes like 3 turns to set up, but it's on a land, so it's really a really great card. Plus, you can blow it up. Lord Windgrace, get back the Blast Zone. Isn't that crazy? If you do that, it's very good. It's very hard for you to lose. Blast Zone can't remind you enough to play it. And we're also playing 3 copies of Heroes Plaza. I really wanted a protection spell like a Iona's Escape, the white card, or the green Tameo Safekeeping, right? I really wanted something like that, but I couldn't find room in the deck, and it felt very wrong to be in the deck. But this being a land, already part of the lands deck, becomes untapped. We need more untapped lands, and hexproof and indestructible to a legendary creature. Very good. It's just one of the ways where you flip Titania and you have protection. So even if they do have like a kill spell, you can just hexproof or indestructible. Hexproof and indestructible. So Plaza of Heroes, very good. Also with Windgrace, you can get it back. So you can just give it hexproof and indestructible and like keep attacking and just bringing things back. Is EDH staple. It's an EDH staple, but it's also a very good card. I feel like a lot of people, when they say EDH staple, you're just like, it's a fine card. It's only good in 4-player. No, this is legit. Play this card. Spell lands. I don't know what the term you want to call them for, but they're the Kamigawa lands. Discard. Play those. You can get these back with Windgrace. You can also, if you want to reuse them, Gloomshrieker them back. It's very good. And with Titania, if you use the ability, you also gain 2 life. So it's spell lands, play some untap lands, play some basics. I think I just wanted one basic for each, just so if I need to like Sprouting Goblin and get an untapped land, I can find an untapped land for the Sprouting Goblin. That's the deck. It's good. It's really grindy. I'm giving you another grindy deck to play with. It's just it's a Jund deck. If you like playing old school Jund with Tarmogoyfs and Liliana of the Veils, this is the deck for you. So give it a try. I highly recommend it. Sideboard. Sideboard. Remember, I won't ever give you 15 cards. I'll just tell you what I play. But just change it however you want. Yes, sideboard. We're playing. What is this? Choking Miasma. I think that's the name of this card with the kicker. I just wanted a card that kills X2. This deck can have a tendency to be really run over by a bunch of small cheap creatures. So this card is very good. It doesn't kill any of our big things. It can give a counter to something, which is honestly pretty good. I think people underestimate how making something a little bit bigger can really change the tide of how games are played. So played Choking Miasma. I told you I'm playing Leyline Binding. I'm playing all 4. If you want, you can splash the white, which is what I'm doing, and play the Leyline Binding. Just more interaction and instant speed. 2 mana interaction is very, very good. Play that card. Just don't play it against white decks or green decks, because they have Destroy Evil, Naturalize effects. So try not to play it against them. What else could you play in the sideboard? Liliana of the Veil. If you want, you could play Liliana of the Veil. It's also a very good card for this deck. This deck is an attrition-based deck, so Lily's really good. You can target sacrificing yourself if you really want to like sack an Undead Butler and get something back. Yeah, Liliana, very good card. Ajani, if you're splashing white, play Ajani. The new Ajani. I know, not a very good card. Not a lot of people like him. One of my personal favorite cards. So play Ajani. It's very good to because Ajani with the +1 gets everything, and then Ajani's -3 is a very game breaking ability. I've played it a lot. Maybe the next deck I'll play Ajani, but the Johnny's really, really good. The -3, the 3 counters, and they get vigilance is very good. Plus, if you can ultimate, it's game over. Speaking of splashing, if you want, you could splash blue. You could, if you splash blue, I would play more Lhurgoyfs, but you can also play the frog. Frog's pretty good. It's a little too... Augur of Autumn fulfills that need for me. but if you want, you could play the frog. Frog's very good. Yeah, you could play the frog and splash blue. You could play more like domain cards. The 2/4 flying thing. That one's pretty good if you want to splash blue. I want to keep more Jundi and in the white. Outland Liberator. Play that card. It's a 2 mana, sack it, destroy something. It's probably the best thing. Plus, this deck can get it back. It's creature, graveyard, Outland Liberator. Play that card. If you're playing against Delver, you know, the mono blue deck, if you're climbing the ranks of the arena, you're going to see that deck. Torch Breath, it's pretty good. It's just like a 1 mana instant speed, can't be countered, kill the flipped over, or if you want, you can kill the Tolarian Terror, you can kill the Jin. Torch Breath if you're playing any mono blue. Also, if it can't be countered, Ward doesn't affect it, so remember that. The sideboard, I really want more interaction with this deck because this deck and the main deck doesn't have a lot of interaction. So the sideboard is all interaction spells. That's why I didn't play Urg, Spawn Up to Urg. Instead of the Bone Rattler, you could play Urg. Another big boy. It's a 3-drop. It's good. You can sack lands, draw cards, gain life, whatever. Urg's pretty good. All right, that's the end of deck tech number 2. We're gonna call this Domain Meld. Tune in next week. I think next week, I guess I'll play in a Johnny deck. I have perfect deck in mind, and we're gonna play a lot of a Johnny next week, and then maybe between here and then I can throw in a top 10 for you guys. So until next time, have a great week, and talk to you later. Bye.